Hey everyone, I'm Rick Zanotti, and this is Tech Down Over. I'm joined today by Harold Muliati, and we are going to talk about a real good opportunity to get a cheap studio camera that won't cost you that much. It's still not cheap, but it gives you a very good studio camera. We've been shooting in the studio with the GH5 as a studio camera, and it worked really well. My image right now is on a Panasonic G9, and we're testing it as a studio camera. And so far, I think we've been in here more than 30 minutes, and it's been on nonstop, hasn't turned itself off, probably won't at this point. And it looks, I'd say, if not exactly like the GH5, we did a little tweaking, but almost nothing. Just white balanced it, just modified a little bit of color setting, and it's about the same as what the GH5 was. Has the same focus, the new improved focus, where it's not really hunting. Like if I move my mic up here and bring it down, I don't know. Harold, did it hunt?
Just a tiny bit, but I guess
any camera would
it covered up your face. So
yeah, for a quick moment it might have hunted, but as I move around and come back, it seems to capture the focus pretty well. So, even though Panasonic has had some issues with focus in the past, for a studio camera, they make darn good studio cameras. Right now, the Panasonic G9 is at $990. You can go to B&H, you can go to Sammy's Camera. They all have them for the same price. And for $999, this is way cheaper than a Blackmagic Design studio camera, which is about $1,500. Now, it's a little bit different. I'm comparing kind of apples to oranges, but still, you're talking micro four thirds on both of them, and you're talking less features of what you can adjust on the Blackmagic without having Blackmagic ATEMs or video switchers. We're running this on vMix right now, and it was very easy to set this up, plug it in, do a white balance, make some really minor adjustments, and we're good. One of the lenses we found that is really good for being a studio camera is the Panasonic Leica, and I believe this is a 15mm f1.7. This is a really nice lens. I think it costs about $400, $450, something like that. And it's a great all-around lens. In a studio like we're in, the camera is probably about 4 feet from me, maybe 5, and it does a really clean job of just capturing image. You can move the camera forward. It's a prime lens, so you can move the camera forward or backward a little bit. But we find that in our case, let's say 1, 2, 3, probably 4 to 5 feet max. And it's a really clean lens. It's a very nice prime. The price is great for it. I think it's one of the better lenses that Panasonic makes. Very clean quality. It is not a stabilized lens, which most primes are not. And if you handhold, you have to put your shutter a little bit faster. But I believe we're at 60 frames per second here while we're recording. And no problem. It does a really good job. Harold, any other settings or anything people need to be aware of for this?
Well, speaking of the GH5, we actually have a recording from last week with the GH5 where we can show it side by side with what you're looking at right now. Let me just switch over to that. So that's Rick with the GH5 over there on the left, and this is him on the G9 right on the right there. And we've got the settings just about the same, white balanced with the same balance card, same room, same lighting.
And for anybody who remembers, but they're cousins, identical cousins as you'll find. No, that was the old Patty Duke show. I remember that. Catchy song. But anyway, that looked about the same. Color-wise, skin tones, it was clean. And the focus is good on both. So we're using the same exact lens that we were using on the GH5. We just moved it over to the G9. Looks good. We have a 25mm Panasonic lens, which is also very good, But the camera would have to be about another, 4 feet back, if not 5, which would put it close to the entry of the door here. Not a good idea.
Yeah, with our current studio layout, this is kind of an optimal lens, I think.
Yep, it's not bad at all. I think we're going to get another one of these during the year-end tax savings purchases. And that way we can use it on the other camera as well. And then Harold will have a very nice studio camera, too. He's been on a webcam for a long time, which actually looks pretty good if you look at his webcam.
Yeah, I think
it's a pretty darn good webcam.
This is, I think you said a Logitech C935?
It's a 930 or 935?
Something like that.
It's one of those.
It's a 1080, but it's pretty sharp.
And we're shooting 1080 on what I'm doing. Well, actually, did we check? I'm not even sure if we checked. I don't know if we're on 1080 or 4K on this camera. I think we're on 1080.
Don't quite remember, yeah.
Yeah. But either way, it'll still come out really well, and we're outputting the shows at 1080p anyway, so it probably worked just the same. I'm not sure if we can even convert it from 4K to 1080 without converter.
Yeah, it'll do that. Just fine.
We have this connected to our Magewell SDI capture card, and it is going through, what was it called?
A decimator.
Decimator.
I forget what the specific.
Yeah, it's a decimator, HDMI to SDI converter. I think it's made in Australia.
Yeah, decimator's out of Australia.
Really nice product, and it was like $50-$60. You can also get the Blackmagic design converters. They're very good. And there's a whole slew of cheap ones that may or may not work. So be very careful what you use as a converter. They're not all created equal. Some of them are actually created pretty crappy. So be careful on that. But hey, what do you think? Any comments? Leave them below. Let us know what you think of the Panasonic G9, which I am currently on right now, as a studio camera. I think it's a good choice, and the money is great. You can buy cheaper, but at $9.99, you're getting a camera that if you need to shoot with it, you can take it off the studio and go shoot with it, or you leave it on the studio and you haven't spent anything you're going to be crying about. It'll work as a studio camera or as a photo/video camera. And that's it. We have 2 shows this week coming up, we think. We've got Ted Meister from Think Tank, hopefully 1 p.m. on Friday Pacific time. He's going to be talking all about Think Tank and what bags they've got. They've got some great bags. We have a lot of Think Tank bags. And we also have, we hope, Christian Grotch, who's been on the show a million times. He's our only viewer, so we really want him on. He's a good guy, and actually we like Christian. He's a really good guy. And he's a good videographer and good photographer, so we'll have some Christmas fun with him. Have a good one, everyone. We'll see you next Friday, this Friday, coming up in about 4 days, on Tech Down Over.
All right. Bye, everyone, and we'll see you then.